I'm not sure actually.
I
So we should be live on the Facebook page. I'm just going to go over and double check here to make sure. But we should be live. And let me pull up comments because we should start seeing people pop in then too. Okay, live viewer comments come up on StreamYard. This is an example, it says. Okay. We're going to hide the comments. Okay, let me. The other thing I was thinking too is I wonder if in rooms, how that works on pages too.
It says everybody can hear and see us now.
Yeah, hopefully everyone's hoping. I don't see anyone jumping on just yet, so I'm kind of hoping.
Did they give up on us? No.
Yeah, let's see. Hair laundry. I'm going to share it real quick. If I can pull it up on my phone, and then I'll share it on my page. Where is it? Oh, someone's jumping on. I see somebody joined. So if you can hear us and see us both, I'm going to grab the live. There it is. I'm going to share it. I guess that'll work. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and just start. Sorry about all the. Hey, it is what it is, right? We don't have perfect stories, so we don't live in a perfect world.
Life is messy. We have to embrace it. Embrace the mess and move on.
Absolutely, I love it. So, thanks everyone who's jumping on now and joining us. Nancy just said, "Yay!" So we'll just go ahead and start right over. So I'm Wendy Babcock. I'm your host. I am a communication strategist, an author, TEDx speaker, and founder of the Kindness Bucket Brigade. And I started this crazy video podcast to showcase incredible women who have overcome extraordinary challenges and have found success however they define it, because we all define success in a different manner. So this week I want to introduce Megan. Now, I'm not going to butcher your last name. Is it Doehring?
Doehring, yeah.
Doehring, okay.
That's how we say it. It doesn't mean that's the correct way.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, hey, hi, Diane. Thanks for joining. So, Megan, I'm just going to jump right in. And if you just want to start out by introducing yourself, and then we'll walk through some of the challenges that you faced, and then we'll continue with your story. So go ahead and give yourself an introduction. And
great. Thank you, Wendy, so much for doing this. Really appreciate the opportunity to share my story. I think we all have stories that can inspire someone, even if it's just one person, because then that's one life change. So I'm Megan Doehring. I am a certified independent Optavia coach, and I have a long story as to how I got to that. I'm not a tech whiz, as we obviously clearly saw this morning, because we had some challenges on my end. I apologize for getting you started late, but again, life's messy. Life's messy, right?
Exactly, and that's what we say.
Yeah. My journey started 15 years ago. My health journey. I mean, let's face it, we're all on a health journey, our whole lives, I think. I tried all kinds of different things to stay at top health, but there's always conflicting information, right? It's always hard. This person says that, and then there's these pills, and then there's drink this, and there's that diet, and there's all kinds of things. And bottom line, I didn't want a diet. I wanted a healthy life. 15 years ago, I was pregnant with my son, and I had gestational diabetes when I was pregnant with him. Oh, wow. So, of course, that set up some alarms. So fortunately for that, they put me on a restricted diet. I didn't gain very much the last 10 weeks of my pregnancy. He was very healthy. Great.
Oh, good.
Move on. Well, once you've had gestational diabetes, it's really important to keep track of your blood glucose levels. So every year when I have my blood levels checked, we would check my A1C numbers. That's how they check your blood glucose level. And when you've had gestational diabetes, you can develop diabetes later in your life. Well, I was noticing those numbers creeping up, and I didn't know what to do about it. We always hear diet, exercise. Well, that's great, except tell me more, help me. Yeah. What's that look like? Right. So I knew I had a problem with sugar, but I didn't know what to do about it. But another, let's say, 9 years rolls by. I'm okay. I'm okay. But now I get diagnosed with breast cancer. I had lobular carcinoma in situ. So it's a breast cancer name that isn't really quite technically a breast cancer yet, but it was in 90% of my one breast, and they had really set me up that all of that needs to go. Then there was something in the other one, and it was going to be a bunch of surgery and a lot of cutting and
scary.
The stress,
very scary.
Yeah. So I just said, what are my options? What can I do? Because for me, and it's everybody's individual journey, for me, I was thinking, how can I best face this with a 12 and 9-year-old at home? With my parents are getting older, but they also live 300 plus miles away.
Oh my gosh.
And my mom wanted to come and help me. And so that's how I ended up choosing a double mastectomy. And my mother was able to come and help me. My husband helped me. My kids helped me. My community helped me. Amazing outpouring from my church. We had lots of meals.
Wow.
It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And you may not know this about me, but I've actually gone through a bilateral mastectomy myself. But I didn't have a breast cancer diagnosis. I have the BRCA2 gene mutation.
Yes,
with crazy history of cancer on my dad's side. All the women, like all of his cousins had breast cancer. So when that was part of your story, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel your pain because of going through the mastectomy process is scary. There's so many different things that, come up in that, and it's stressful. It's an emotional journey.
It is very much so. And I chose to kind of live it out loud.
I did too.
Good. Yeah. Because it's everybody's journey.
Yeah.
Anybody who has to go through that, it's an individual choice. You don't know what you'll do until you're in that situation. But the beautiful thing is there's Wendy, she has a story. I have a story. And, you're doing this because you want to help other people. That's what we want to do. We want to help other people.
And as you know, too, especially if when you had your mammogram and you get that callback, that's scary because my first mammogram was so abnormal, and yet they never found cancer in me, but they said it was so abnormal. They were shocked I didn't have cancer. So, wow. And I think I'm sure if you shared this publicly, with your friends and your family and stuff, how many women get that callback call saying, hey, we saw something, we just need you to come back in. How terrifying that is, and not knowing who you can talk to. Did you find that as a struggle? Like, who can I talk to? Like, I'm terrified right now.
So that's really interesting because my journey with this started at 17. That was when I found my first lump.
Okay.
And
wow.
My mother and 2 aunts have had lumpectomies. Okay. And then my mother's oldest sister was diagnosed with breast cancer a few years before me. So what happened was, I was on those from the age of 40 on, maybe even younger. I don't even remember. You'd get that recall, you'd go in, then you'd get on that 2-year watch, and every 6 months you'd be in, and then I'd get cleared, and then I'd go the year, and then I'd get the call back. Yeah. And then I'd get put on the every 6 months again. So the way they found this was they said, you know what? You have an aunt with breast cancer, and because you're constantly on these recalls, you are eligible to get a baseline MRI. So I was like, oh, wow. Great, let's do that. We'll have the information. It was barely a day later, they called me back and like, we need to see you this afternoon. Oh, wow. You're going to have a biopsy and we need to do some more checking and we're going to do an ultrasound. And that's when they found the one thing, and I think the right side, they were able to biopsy, but they could not see the lobular carcinoma in situ at all. And mind you, it was a 90%. It did not show in the mammogram and it did not show in the ultrasound, but it was just this whole like constellation stuff, Right. So then they did they put me back in the MRI machine and did a biopsy that way. Okay. So again, very fortunate, very blessed, but yes, when we get those calls, when we're in those situations, it's scary. And we all want to protect our health as much as possible. Right.
and we don't want to panic, but there's always that little voice, that what if, and it's scary. Now, my sister was going through the same prophylactic surgery that I was going through. I'm sorry, my dogs are going crazy upstairs if you hear that. And she had the pre-op MRI, and they found she had the stage 0 breast cancer. So they had just caught hers in time doing the pre-op MRI for her. So it's when you said that with the MRI, I'm thinking that's how they caught my sister's. Gotcha. You know, had she not been planning this whole prophylactic surgery, she never would have, because her mammogram was clear. Right. Besides, like, she had a small cyst. So I think it's really important that the more women tell their stories, and like how yours was discovered and going through that cycle between a year, every 6 months, I think it's really important we all talk about our journeys and the decisions we all made, because like you said, my sister and I had totally different journeys. I chose a deep flap reconstruction. It was a 12-hour surgery. My sister chose to go flat. Okay. You know, so, sure. You know, and our journeys were just so different, you know, so it's always interesting when I talk to someone who's gone through the mastectomy. Of course, yours was a breast cancer like my sister's. So did you have to go through? No, it was, I forgot which, it was an in situ cancer. So did they do chemo, or were you on like nothing like that?
No. So what they did was they checked my lymph node. They checked one lymph node and it had not spread.
Oh, good. Okay.
So that's kind of an interesting, I don't know, did your sister get followed up by an oncologist and those kinds of things?
I'm trying to think how hers went. She didn't have to go through any treatments, but they did take her, I sent sentinel nodes. They took mine too during my surgery. But yeah, her in follow-ups and stuff, you know, she was cleared. So I don't know for hers, but just fascinating. So
it is. And it's, you know, because cancer's, I mean, let's face it, cancer is on the rise. Yeah. You know, it's something we need to talk about just so we can help other people.
Right. And I had maybe this is true for you, but I had many women message me after that, because I shared my journey very publicly, who had just gotten that call back, and they're like, I just don't know who to call. I don't want my friends and family to worry. I just need someone to talk to about it, you know, because they don't want to freak everybody out, because that adds to the anxiety. But I'm like, well, it helps to find that one friend who you can confide in, you know, when you have this, and say, I don't want to panic, but I need to talk about this.
Well, and nobody can make that decision for you either. And sometimes our family, because they love us, you know, want to kind of help us make that decision. And that can be hard too. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was. And my sister and I both had gotten some, what do you want to call it? Like pushback on our decisions, being that we weren't, well, I didn't have cancer. So I got some pushback on my decision to go through with the mastectomy, you know. Why wouldn't you just wait? What, you know, I'm like, but you don't understand. Like, I saw the genetic counselor. I know what my risks are. Like, I don't want to have to explain in detail, but people don't understand it. So I felt like, okay, we need to have this conversation, that I need to share my story so people understand, you know, the decision-making process that I went through, that my sister went through, because we were different. And we did get that pushback of, you know, well, why would you, you know, cut everything off? And, you know, why would you go to that extreme? So it's important to have the conversations, whether it's cancer or the BRCA genes, or, you know, the family history that's tied into it. My aunt passed at 50 from breast cancer. Her daughter passed 2 weeks before my surgery at age 38.
Oh my goodness.
And hers she was same as my sister. She was stage 0 cancer. She went through the hysterectomy. Okay. Because she had the BRCA gene. That's how we learned about the genetic, all of that, why we went and had ours done. She passed from a post-op infection after her hysterectomy, and she became septic. So, you know, losing family members, especially that close, I was terrified to have my surgery after that. Like, I was just a basket case, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? And then I was just, you know, so anyways, it's very important. And I'm really happy that you shared your story with, you know, the people that were surrounding you.
Thank you.
Sounds like you had a lot of support, which is fantastic.
I did.
So where does your journey go from there then? So, you know, you've gone through the gestational diabetes, and then there's kind of this health scare with diabetes, and then, you know, worrying about your numbers, and now breast cancer, So where does it go from there?
So of course, then as I was healing, because it's a long healing process.
Yeah.
You can't pick up anything. You can't do anything. You need to really be careful. And there's no rehab for that because it's the opposite. With exercise, no pain, no gain. Well, when you're recovering from a surgery like that, if there's pain, you stop.
Right.
So I was comfort eating, but let's face it, comfort eating is not comfort because it's just not. Okay.
Right.
Well, the Y, our local Y, had at the time, I know they call it something different now, but it was a Live Strong program.
Okay.
And I did that for 12 weeks, which helped me regain my strength, feel better for the most part. Physically, that was good because I was around other people who were going through very similar things. Super helpful, but still didn't know how to eat. And I knew that was the bottom line of what I needed to go to.
Right.
So I tried some other diets, had a little bit of success, but nothing sustainable. And then I saw a picture on Facebook. And I knew from that picture on Facebook that it was just a 4-week picture of somebody I went to high school with. It was night and day from this program she was doing. And I said, okay, I want to know what that is because I knew this person. It wasn't like, some
stranger.
Photoshop picture. Exactly. Right. So I got connected up with probably the Nancy who might have said hi or yay, or she's my coach. So this will show again my tech skills, but this is my cancer story. So this is a picture of me with my head cut off because again, no tech skills. Right. But that was my last day in the Live Strong program. And then this picture here is me at the end of my journey on my program. And that was a dress that I had worn in Hawaii, like at that point was like 17 years earlier. I had no idea I'd get that dress back on. But that dress ended up becoming my Y dress. And then that was a year later. So that is now almost 2 years ago, but that's still me. I have my arm up like this, which you can't really see again because I'm not techie, because I'm a survivor, right?
Right.
I've lived through these things. This is sort of my cancer story. I'm a survivor. I had those things done, but I've come out the other side. I did not allow that to shape my destiny. I took that, I used that to go, okay, I still have a lot of years left to live. I was 51 when I found our program. What am I going to do? And I'll tell you what, totally sustainable.
Yeah.
Totally sustainable. Awesome. I lost 21 pounds, had no intention of coaching because I was looking to fix me. I was looking to feel better. I was looking for better health. I was looking to figure out a way to not allow my A1C pre-diabetic numbers creep over to diabetes. And the really important thing about that for me to mention is I lost 21 pounds. I wasn't even considered overweight. The reason I wanted to lose weight was because I wasn't comfortable. I put it all on in my midriff mostly. My pants weren't fitting. And the one thing Dr. Oz said years and years ago that has always stuck with me, because not a lot sticks with me about whatever. Anyway, I digress. Was don't wear elastic waistbands all the time. You need to put your jeans on. You need to put, your business slacks on, whatever that is. Because if you don't have that pushing back on you, you don't really know where you are.
That's true. I found that during the quarantine, like wearing, leggings all the time. I'm like, I better put some jeans on, make sure they still fit.
Exactly. Because that's a good check. That's a good check-in. So I have my jeans on today because again, I have to do what I say I'm going to do or what I suggest to other people. So anyway, not only did I not go a size up, which is what I was afraid was going to happen, but I went 2 sizes down. But what I really want to say about that is, here you're talking about somebody who, this is 5 pounds. So when you're talking 5 pounds of fat, it does add up when you're talking 21, okay? Wow. But technically, I wasn't unhealthy yet. What's really important for people to think about is just because you're not unhealthy or you're not in a disease state does not mean you're healthy. So that was a really important key thing to me. And so now I'm over 2.5 years into this journey. I knocked the weight off in 3 months. I've been sustaining, maintaining, and what we like to call optimizing. You know, my husband and I over quarantine have picked our bikes back up. And a few days ago, we were riding 19, 20 miles because it feels fantastic, because it's good for our cardiovascular health, and it's good for this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, you look phenomenal anyways. I was shocked when you said you were 50, 51.
I'm 54.
54? You look so much younger. 54. So, I mean,
well, thank you.
Health, you know, health really does make a difference in how people look. It you know, that if you're not healthy, it ages you, you know, and so when you're doing things that are more healthy. So I want you to talk a little bit about the mindset that goes along with it. Because, you know, you went through that kind of letting yourself have that comfort food and through that journey. And then all of a sudden you know, you're like, I need to kind of get my shit together, you know, and join this program. You see your friend. So what was that mindset shift like going from one to the next?
Well, that's really interesting because it keeps happening too. And what I like is that, you know, I think, you know, well, Wendy, how old are you? You talk to me about my age. What's your age?
I just turned 45.
You look fantastic. 45. What's wonderful is, let's face it, we're middle-aged. Yep. We can still keep changing and evolving and improving.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to have our age limit us. We don't have to say, well, I guess that's the best I could do. No.
Yep. 45, life over. Nope.
No, we can keep going. So anyway, I actually, I totally just distracted myself. What was your question?
Oh, we're talking about mindset shifting, going into that healthier mindset.
Okay. So when I started the program, I started it as a diet.
Okay.
I did because, and I knew I needed to learn, but I saw hope. Right. That's one of the things I get to do. I'm a hope dealer. So I saw hope. Yeah, thank you. So not my words, but that's what some of the people say, hope dealer. But what was really interesting was I saw that like my coach at that point, she had been keeping her weight off for 5 years. So I was meeting people who did this, who were coaching, and who were keeping the weight off. So that gave me hope. So what I love is from day one, you know, we eat 6 times a day. It's balanced nutrition. It's low glycemic. So we start feeling really good right away. Now, first we have to detox out that crap because let's face it, it's in there. But then, you know, our energy picks up. We start feeling better. Well, you know, because I know you've done things too, where you get rid of the extra carbs, you know, you eat balanced nutrition, you are going to feel better. That age-old thing we learned when we were kids, you are what you eat, 100% true.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the mind shift starts kicking in more and more and more. I realized that it was sustainable. I realized it was something I could maintain. And I realized that I never had to eat sugar again. I was able to kind of break that addiction. I now know about me that if I'm not careful, if I have to really, so we have something called Stop, Challenge, Choose, part of the mindfulness. And it's really important because my daughter, through lockdown, homebound, has started baking more. And she just turned 18. I'm not going to tell her not to. I don't bake because I don't want to eat it.
Right.
So I'll come down in the kitchen. I smell it before I even walk out of my door because she'll do it in the middle of the night. And I'll come down and I have a choice to make. Do I want to eat that?
Right.
Because I've heard you say before in other podcasts, you know, do I want to feel the way that's going to make me feel? Which is a really good thing to think about. Do I want to feel the way that food is going to make me feel? 1, 2, I can't stop at 1. Can I stop at 1? Can I have 1 cookie? Can I have 1 bite? And I think that's really important. If the answer is like, I don't think so, then, you know, I say, could you please move that to your designated area and get that out from under my nose? Because I don't trust myself with it. And I think that's important.
Yeah. And I think what you're saying too is great because you're kind of doing like a study of 1. You're looking at your situation. You know where your limits are. I'm the same way. I can't just do 1. I can't just say, I'm going to have a cheat day. I'm going to stick to this plan for a week and then I'm going to have a cheat day because I know myself. one cheat day is going to turn into a week. And then pretty soon, a month later, like, oh, I got to get back to it. And so knowing your own personal limitations, somebody else might be like, yeah, I can have one cookie and just stop. I'm good.
Right.
But knowing yourself and knowing your own limitations and what you're capable of is very, very important. And just because somebody else can do it doesn't mean you can.
Well, and my husband and I have had a lot of conversations about this topic because he is a recovering alcoholic. He's been sober for, let's say, about 26, 27 months.
Awesome. Well, good for him.
Yes, thank you. Very proud of him. Of course, he can't have one drink. We would never tell an alcoholic, oh, come on, you can have one. Or if somebody does, they don't understand what alcoholism is. Well, it's the same with sugar addiction or food addiction or even if, eating for that emotional comfort or whatever it is. There are food addicts. We know that. It really is about that, let's think about it. And one of the things I've said before about what's really important right now is that whole self-awareness. I think one of the biggest things we can do for ourselves right now during this pandemic is being self-aware. And, we have that, lizard brain where we're just on automatic, and that of course is our breathing and our heart beating and all of that stuff too. Then there's that Labrador brain where it's all the feelings and emotions and stuff. And then, but we have to get it up to that human brain, to be self-aware, to think it through, to do I really want to do this? Do I want to feel the way this is going to make me feel or whatever that might be?
Yeah, that emotional consequence that you're going to face. I do that to myself. I'm definitely a sugar addict. And Facebook knows I have a thing for marshmallows. Can't buy them anymore because if they're in the house, I'll eat them. And maybe you've heard this too about sugar addicts. They say that sugar actually lights up the same part of your brain that cocaine does. And like the first time and then I'm like, it makes sense because and that's why I know myself, once I fall off that wagon, it is so hard to climb back up because that sugar just keeps like, you want more and more and more and more and more, give me more. So it's a really hard pattern. So, I mean, I commend you. I commend your husband, especially, for being that long. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
That's a hard addiction to overcome.
It is. And again, just like choosing to get healthy, it's a personal choice. Nobody can make you. You have to choose and want it for yourself. Just like, yes, I get to coach and help people, but I can't sell that. I can't, there's no amount of that. Somebody has to want help and raise their hand, and then it is just an amazing journey. But the other thing that's also important and interesting about sugar is just like you said about it lighting up the brain, but we also know that sugar feeds cancer.
Yes.
So for me, it was like, come on, how many wake-up calls do I need in order to go, okay, that's it. I only get one life. I only have one body. And I better start being serious about what I'm eating all the time, not just when I feel like it.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought that up with the cancer connection, because I've done so much like Google research. I don't want to say research because it sounds more important than it is. Research and, and reading books on that about that connection, because my BRCA gene doesn't just expose me to breast cancers and uterine fallopian, those type of cancers, but also colon cancer, skin cancer, pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
So my dad passed from a form of, it was a skin cancer, but like an internal, like a squamous cell cancer. So we lost him almost 3 years ago. My mom just passed in February she had COPD, but we did learn, because I had just taken her that week, that she did have lung cancer. She was a heavy, heavy smoker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So two parents, both at age 69 when they passed. And now I'm thinking to myself, I know I have this elevated risk. So what am I doing to myself by eating all this sugar? Like, what am I really, do I want to live past 69? So that's really kicked things into gear where for me, I find, and maybe this was true for you, I'm at that point in my life where I don't care as much what I look like as how I feel and how healthy I am. Like that's what is motivating me right now to be on a better journey for what I'm eating and exercising. is I want to live longer. I don't want to
Sure.
suffer with cancer. So that,
Right.
I think maybe sometimes when we're younger, especially me, this was true. I wanted to diet because I wanted to look good. I wanted to be thin. And
Hmm.
now that's not the case. Now it's like I want to be healthier. I don't want to have indigestion. I don't want to have headaches and
Right.
not sleep. So, I don't know. Is any
And
of
that's
that kind of
different sizes
true?
for different people.
Yes,
Yeah, it's not a one size fits all.
exactly.
Health is individual. Our health
Right,
journey is individual. And that also I love is because our program is
right.
individual. We cater it to each individual person. So I love that because we all deserve our own journey and our own
Yes.
health to look like what it should look like for us.
Right, absolutely. And so let's talk a bit about like this. Besides, obviously, your health has improved tremendously. You can see from your pictures before and after, and how you feel and how
Mm-hmm.
young you look.
Thank you.
So success, then, of course, there's more to success than obviously just. I mean, health is a huge success, but like, what else have you found along your journey now? And how would you define your success in life? If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So again, as I was mentioning, I had not set out to coach. It
Hmm.
actually ended up happening because I felt so good that I
Right.
wanted to share it with my friends and family. Now, I felt completely capable of sharing it and letting my coach them because I just wanted other people to get healthy. I wanted
Right.
other people to have the energy I had, and I just didn't know I could feel this good. And of
Wow.
course, coffee always helps, but
That's me.
gotta have the coffee.
Cheers.
Cheers is right. Um, sorry, that just distracted me again. Squirrel.
And I'm like, squirrel.
Um, yeah. So, what were we talking about again? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go
Oh,
ahead. So
right.
we were just talking about your
Oh,
success that you found. Yeah.
right. So it just became one of these things that, well, wait a minute. I know these people and these people know me. Maybe I can help them. And so
Hmm.
that's how it all started. And man, I'll tell you, having teenage children,
Mm.
finding a new purpose.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had been a professional woman before I got married, and I had even been a drug rep once upon a time before I
Okay.
had my daughter. So I had done those things, but we moved around a bunch, and with children, it wasn't easy to remake yourself into a new
Right.
career. And my husband traveled, and we didn't have family around us, so I was a stay-at-home mom, and I loved that. But when this opportunity came along,
Hmm.
we have an amazing team. We support for our clients and our coaches. It's like I have a whole new family through that now too. And then the constant mind shifts that I get to come along with in myself and in other
Right.
people. So I have found passion. I have found purpose in helping other people. I create healthier meals for my family. So my husband and my children are eating healthier.
See,
So
that's huge to me.
yeah,
I mean, being that influence and, obviously you're coaching in that, but your influence and them watching you and then them, kind of mimicking what you're doing, that's huge to me. I mean, a lot of families don't get on board. And I've seen a lot
right.
of women, in health businesses or entrepreneurship who are kind of stuck doing this on their own. And so to hear that you
Yeah.
have like that upline and that team of support,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
that's kind of a make it or break it thing with a lot of these businesses is you have to have that
Yes,
support to pull you along and help kind of push you to do better and get past those boundaries that we set in our heads.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're
So your
right.
success too then. So your health, obviously bringing your family along, becoming an entrepreneur and, being
Mm-hmm.
part of this team was something you probably didn't even foresee 10 years prior.
Oh gosh, no. And I mean, and that's what I love about where we are in this world now. You know,
Hmm.
you almost can't ask people where they want to be in 5 years because
Yeah.
where they might end up, which might be fantastic, might not even exist yet.
Right. And you just don't know. I mean, you think back to remember high school and they asked us, what do you want to be when you grow up sort of thing, like what's your goal? And it was like what I said was nowhere near where I am. Like it's just such a different, it's just crazy how much we evolve and change and those mindset shifts. So you go through these challenges, you evolve, more challenges, because we never stop going through challenges, let's face it.
No.
You know, I mean, even in business, we have challenges. You're going to have people you're coaching who are going to become a challenge in a way. You know, you want to help them so bad, but they're going to be struggling with their own demons.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
because again, God, sorry.
No, go ahead. That's I want you to.
Okay. Well, it's again, with it being each individual journey, we all have to take the self responsibility, you know, in anything. So anybody who's coaching someone else, whether it be a life coach, a health coach, you know, whatever the coaching is if that person doesn't take that responsibility to do what they know they should do, there is no moving forward. So it's the self responsibility.
And that's just it. So do you have like techniques that maybe you implement with somebody? So, you know, say you're coaching me and I'm doing really well. Then all of a sudden I start kind of distancing myself and stop messaging and you're not seeing me post or, you know, because I'm sure that happens. You know, I did coaching, you know, years ago through like Beachbody and stuff. So, I mean, I know how that kind of works with people. Like everyone's so gung ho. And then pretty soon you just get that distance.
Sure. Well, and not with everybody, but there are some.
Right, some, yes.
Right, but there's a couple of things that really work in our favor. We don't consider ourselves to be food police or anything like that. So that's helpful. My clients know that. But yeah, there are times that I have clients that are like, for whatever reason, we never know what it is, but I do know it's not me.
Right.
I have to remind myself it's not me. You know, if they don't want to talk to me, maybe they're, you know, feeling guilty or did something they shouldn't have or whatever. There's no judgment. We're the complete no judgment zone. And that never helps anybody.
No, absolutely not.
But we do things like, you know, little video text sometimes, that kind of thing. But what's really awesome is this whole learning system we have, the Habits of Health and the Life Book. So this is our, he's our co-founder. That's Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson. And he is a New York Times bestseller, and he wrote our program. What's also, so this really helps because this is a journaling book. So when somebody, like say you messaged me and you said, I'm really having trouble with my sleep. Well, there's a chapter for that, you know. I'm really stressed out and this and that. And why isn't my weight budging? Well, when our cortisol levels go up, it's really hard for our body to lose weight. There's a chapter for that. And actually, with my group, we're doing a life book club. So we pick it, we call them elements. We pick an element, we read through it that week, and then we do a Zoom together because right now nobody's meeting in person. So we do a Zoom club, and we can talk about that then, and what's this mean to you, and nothing too personal because somebody can share that if they want to, but you know, if they want to keep that personal, that's fine too.
Yeah, and it sounds very individual too, which is fantastic. And that book would be worth gold. I'm thinking of it as you're talking. I'm like, how many people could use that alone? Even, I mean, obviously having a coach to walk you through it is phenomenal. But dang,
these are the main components of our program. So we can have people come along and get the books. The books, it's total mind shift. That's what this book is for, because if we don't bring our mind along with us when we're changing our body, it's not going to stay. The mind is that like rubber band. If you don't change the mind, it's going to pull the body right back into doing those old habits. It's about, you know, creating the new habits, creating the new channels in the brain so that we can make that change. Right.
That's just phenomenal that you do this. I mean, it's one thing to go through your own challenges and have success, but now that you're helping other people now, that's huge because you're your own success story. So they can see where you've come yourself. You've done the work.
Oh, so thank you.
Just like you said with your friend, you saw this picture of somebody you knew, and how inspiring is that? Now you're that person for somebody else.
Oh, well, thank you. It's fun to do this together again because and I know you've talked to other people and you've been around a long time. And when you are an entrepreneur, when you are a teammate, you know, there's a lot to be said for the team. And we've got an incredible team on my back. I've got this incredible team behind me, and we all support each other and we cheer for each other. There's not a stitch of competition. because it's all about everybody. Hey, we've got a mission. We're on a mission to help change the world, bring health, bring hope, and it's just been phenomenal.
That's fantastic. I love it. And there is such an epidemic of obesity in our world that, you know, to have people out there like you kind of, you know, being the underdog in a way and helping others right along with yourself and your immediate family, which is just, to me, it's almost harder to impact your family than it is strangers sometimes.
Without
you know,
question. Yeah.
You know, to getting them to,
Yeah.
you know, come along like, I don't know if I need that, you know.
Yeah.
So can you want to share a little bit more about your company? In case anyone's interested who's on here, I have your information up here. So if you want to connect with Megan, I have her email. You can put Her Laundry Unfold if you watch the show. Otherwise, you can find her on Facebook, and I'll tag her in this video once we're all done too. So they can just go to your Facebook. And if you have a group they join, or how do they go about once they connect with you to get on their own journey?
Oh, so I love that. So they can message me, they can email me, they can watch me on Facebook. And because it's not cookie cutter, because no program is the same. So the company that I am with is called Optavia, amazing company. And what we do is we connect one-on-one to talk, because we have a nursing mothers program, a diabetes program, a senior program, a teen program. So as you can see, it's not a one size fits all, just like everybody's journey is individual. So I like to have an individual conversation. Even if they choose not to do it, I might be able to give them some help, some tips, some pointers. I am happy to talk to people and help them on their journey to better health.
That's awesome, because there's nothing worse than a program that says this works for everybody, or this is a one size fits all. So I love that it's not a one size fits all. It's very individualized. And I think that's very attractive for people. So that's fantastic.
And I like to say that because when somebody will message me and say, hey, can you send me information? The short answer is no.
Right.
I really can't, because I have to know about you in order to know, like, I wouldn't want to send a nursing mom information on our fat burn program because she couldn't be on that.
Right.
So it's really important for people to know that that's the only reason why I don't just send information out. Plus, you know, before I would want, in order to coach somebody, you'd need to have a conversation anyway.
Yeah. It's a great way to personalize it. Yes.
Yeah. I don't want somebody to try to sell something to me. And even though I say I can't sell this, right? Because you can't. Person has to be ready. I don't want someone trying to sell something to me before they even say hi. Right.
Right. At least get to know, you know, the person, and, you know, even if they're coming to you, it's important that you know who they are. So like you said, you can kind of refer them to the right program, give them, you know, personalized information. That's huge. I think that's I just think that programs like what you're doing for individuals, people have more success.
Right.
You know, so.
Right.
Well, and the last question I'm going to have for you then is, because I try and stay around 45 minutes and we're about 43 right now. But so looking back over your journey, before you had that pivot to start your health journey, what's advice that you would have given yourself? You know, at that point, like looking back now, knowing what you know, was there something that you would have told yourself? I know that's kind of on the spot, but advice you would have given yourself to help propel yourself a little further?
Yeah. Jump in. I wish I would have jumped in sooner. I wish I would have known sooner. You know, I know that I'm glad that I didn't watch. I saw it and I was like, what is that? I just wish if I had learned about it sooner, I would have done it. So what I always tell people too is if you see it, jump in, ask questions, find out if it's a good fit for you. Don't wait on anything with health, right?
Yes, that's fantastic information. I've learned that through my life too, with other things too. Just if it's nagging me a little bit, if I see something I'm like drawn to, check it out. Jump in.
Awesome.
I love that. Sweet. Well, if you're watching, everybody, go ahead and do you want people to friend you then if they want to connect with you on Facebook? Or
that would be awesome.
Okay, then they can shoot you a friend request and maybe get in your inbox, message her, or you can email Megan there. It's up on the screen. And be sure to connect, because I think this sounds like a fantastic program that's individualized for you with your own coach. I mean, that's even more than just here's a program, do it on your own. You get a coach, you get someone to help you through it and walk you through those steps. So thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Thank you, Wendy. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So this will get uploaded to YouTube, everybody, so you can watch it on YouTube later today. I'm also starting to upload it to actual podcast form, so it'll be on iTunes, just obviously the audio part of this. So you'll be able to listen on the podcast, YouTube, or come here and watch us on Facebook. So thanks everyone for joining. Be sure to share the video too, so we can kind of, help Megan out and get some more people to join on both her team and people who need to improve their health. So that's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks again, Megan.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye.